Hi friends, host Eric here, talking with famous people, and we're talking today about something that's a comment that Eunhye Ju said. Eunhye Ju sounds like a Korean name. Hey, hi again. I'm an ENFJ female. I'm wondering how things would be with an ENFP male. I would love your professional advice. Hi again suggests to me this is not the first time you asked me to make this video. So I will gladly attend to it. And like it says here, ENFJ female, ENFP male. Well, let's talk about the cognitive functions first on that. ENFJ female, we're looking at FENI. ENFP male, we're looking at NEFI. So right off the bat, you've got a little bit of a battle in terms of preferred manner of intuition and also in terms of preferred manner of social calculus. On the one hand, what? on the one hand, On the one hand, the ENFP male might do stuff like that to the ENFJ female. Um, well, okay, so look at the sixth function of each one. The sixth function of ENFP is FE. That's countervalued but reasonably strong. So on that grounds, especially, and it's more true of ENFP than it is of ESFP. ESFP has got substantially worse um, FE than ENFP does. ENFP has got much better FE because ENFP is a metaphysical actor and thus is accustomed to dealing in the objective symbolic representations of feelings that uh, comprise a good understanding of FE anyway. So 6-slot FE for ENFP is a lot stronger than ESFP, and it probably won't run afoul a lot of ENFJ in that regard, in the sense that ENFP is likely to be socially graceful, maybe more so than ENTP, who's got FE in the conscious stack. And ENFJ is likely to be very, very concerned about social grace. However, fundamentally, there'll be a conflict in values if it comes down to a conflict between authenticity and perception management. They're not going to come to any agreement. The ENFP is going to think the ENFJ is being fake and or prioritizing other people's opinions to the detriment of their own authentic values. And ENFJ is going to think that ENFP is simply being very selfish, ultimately, in prioritizing their FI concerns over FE concerns. Now, as far as the intuition goes, there's a decent chance that will correlate pretty well with them. That 6th slot NE and 5th slot NI with 1st slot NE and 2nd slot NI. Kimberly, I'm making a video here, baby.
She's helping.
She's not helping at all. She's making noise. She's just doing everything but helping. So I think the ENFP is in a bit of an advantage spot there in terms of what they get out of the relationship. So ENFP will find ENFJ no, I'm sorry, I had that backwards. ENFJ is in a bit of an advantage spot over ENFP, I think, because with the extroverted judging function, the interface judging function, the interface function as the dominant slot, and the intuition as the tool function, it would seem to be that the ENFJ is well positioned to take advantage of ENFP's extroverted intuition in a way that the ENFP is not well positioned to take advantage of the ENFJ's introverted intuition because they intuit first and their interface function is FI. And their internal judging function is next FI. They don't get to an interface function until their 3rd slot TE, and so on that grounds, ENFJ may find that ENFP provides good NE from which it can tool function use its NI, whereas ENFP does not find that that the ENFJ provides good. It doesn't work the same way in the other way around, because the ENFJ is not looking for fundamentally good good FI to help with their tool function. It doesn't work the same way because one's an extrovert judging function and one's an introverted judging function. So in terms of seeking, ENFJ seeks TI, and ENFP has TI polar. So ENFP is not going to be able to provide any of the TI that ENFJ seeks to solidify their perception management around competence. In other words, if you break it down to warmth and competence, ENFJ is very warm and wants to be perceived as competent in order to fill out that package. ENFP is not going to help ENFJ be perceived as more competent. In fact, ENFP is probably going to not even understand when ENFJ is looking for more consistency or logic from them. They're just going to not get what they're even looking for. Now, the polar of ENFJ is going to be SI. So SI is what ENFP is seeking, but again, ENFJ has nothing to offer them in that regard. So in that area, it seems as though ENFJ and ENFP will constantly be feeling as though they're disappointing each other in terms of not getting what they expect the other partner to provide. Next and last, let's look at the insecurity function, the A slot function. For ENFJ, that's going to be TE, and for ENFP, that's going to be SE. So you're not a very effective couple. Insecure in how to do things, and polar in taking care of yourself. That's the ENFJ. Insecure in insecure in taking action, and polar in logical consistency. That's the ENFP. And neither party really provides anything for the other's insecurity or polar functions. So yes, it's true that third slot SE for the ENFJ will bring some SE to the party. It's aspirational, but it's going to be like keeping track of follow through over time rather than really seizing the moment opportunism, because it's in the third slot. And for the TE insecurity of the ENFJ, well, ENFP is not going to offer much in terms of that with a third slot TE for the same reason. It's aspirational, it's motivational, it is how they feel like they're getting paid, but it's not something that they execute as a real-time tool except as an afterthought, and so they're not going to be much help with the insecurities. The bottom line is going to be a lot of overlap of doing the same sort of things well in different ways, and there's going to be almost no complementariness to them in the sense of, I need this, you provide it, you need this, I provide it. So those are my thoughts on ENFJ. Having been in an extrovert relationship myself, ESFJ, ENTP, I can tell you it gets tiring over time. You really want one of the parties to prefer to be the quiet one. I want to prefer to be the talkative one, and let that default naturally occur. It's so much better with an introvert than it was with an extrovert for me. Extroverts, it's a tiring relationship. Good successful extrovert relationships, the two parties take turns being the extrovert. But at the end of the day, really, both parties want an introvert to be their partner. So that's my take on that. Don't get with your ESFP male, Eunhye Ju. Don't get with ENFP. Yeah, don't get with ENFP male. Don't do that. That'd be silly. So, instead, get with ISTP male, okay? You need ISTP male. I've got a good video on ISTP ENFJ duality if you want to watch it. I'll put a link to it in this video. Susie, got any comments, or Jeremy, about the ENFP male, ENFJ female relationship?
What I think could be interesting was to consider what things will look like initially if they don't know about cognitive functions. Because they are both looking for introverted sensing thinker, ISTJ and ISTP. So in some ways, on the outside, they might like the same things, but they are the same things at the same time.
Well,
and ENFJ is and might be very courteous to begin with. Same with ENFP. They might be careful and they might look like something they're not.
right. Well, ENFJ, ISTP is not a introverted sensing thinker. It's an introverted thinking sensor. So
I said it in the wrong order, whatever, that thing.
yeah, but you're right that you know they both seek introverts. You know, it's like ENFJ seeks introverted thinking. So what are they going to initially think of ENFP? Well, they're probably going to. I think in most initial interactions with people, if you're getting to be friends with people and stuff, you're not engaging first and foremost with them via your seeking function, but via your strengths. And so if you feel as though you resonate with somebody, and especially if they provide a slightly different angle on things, it may be initially quite appealing. For example, the having the other side of your nature and tool functions is something that can be, you know, either off-putting or appealing, depending. Like INFJ with the ENFP is pretty appealing because we really like the feel of the NI and we get the FE in the second slot. But even if the you know, NI using ENFJ likes the feel of the NE, they're not gonna. It doesn't work the same with the FI there. It's not. It just. It seems as though they'll kind of step on each other's toes. They're kind of getting in the same niche a bit.
Yeah, but that might be like one of those relationships that are fine until you have a disagreement.
That's true. It might be. I mean, there's no way to resolve the value disagreement between ENFP and ENFJ because fundamentally it's about authenticity versus perceptions, and ENFJ is all about perceptions.
It does seem like it could be fun at first. Like, look at us, we're fun, we're doing shit, yay.
You know, I suspect any relationship with an ENFJ is going to be fun at first, because for God's sake, if there's one thing that they're going to make sure happens, it's that you're happy at first. If they want you to be happy, you know.
Yeah, and ENFP will feel so happy.
ENFP will. Yeah, I mean ENFP will like ENFJ, but the problem is ENFP is whereas ENFJ will go like, okay, I know the single best course for this relationship. I'm going to make this person a medium distance friend or something. ENFP isn't going to quite know what they want to do. They're going to have a clear idea of what they want right now, but they also are aware of the fact that they don't really know what they want long term, and they're kind of flighty, you know. You're not going to lock down an ENFP unless you're a ISTJ.
Yeah, I remember Chloe talking about she dealt with some FE dom for a while. And it started great, but then after a while she started wondering, why is this person so nice? This doesn't seem genuine or real. FI versus FE conflict.
Right. Well, you know, another question that was asked that I thought was a really good question in the comments, and I'll sort of segue and add it on to the end of this video before we switch, is the one that asked the question, who's more, do FI users or those with FE in third and fourth slot show more FE when in a new workplace? Adrian Bartlett. It's going to be FI users, first or second slot is probably going to show more FE because if you have FE in the third or fourth, that means you're a thinker and you understand your own worth or value to the group through competencies not related to social stuff foremost. And it's true that FI DOMs usually have very good FE. FI tool users, not necessarily. It depends. ENFPs usually have good FE. ESFPs are not, they don't have good FE. If they're trying to use their FE, it's probably pretty clumsy and intuitive to go like, so it's a toss up there. Regardless, I think that the FI user is going to show more FE than the FE third or fourth. INTP is going to go in there and show as little of the FE as possible. They're going to want to say, evaluate me purely on my logical competencies, and I'll be happy with that. Don't evaluate me on social stuff. It's not relevant to my job performance. ENTP, well, it depends on the job, It's like we want to be dynamic, but we may bring out some FE, but it may not. It's not ongoing. So, I have to be aware that, okay, I just used some harsh FE. Now I'm going to use some nice FE. That's true in a workplace setting for me, where I've got a class of students, especially if I've got parents watching or something like that. I tend to be more aware of it then. But sometimes not as subtly aware as I could be, and sometimes sweeping is not actually as good as doing it right in the first place. So it's not just a matter of too much this, nope, now too much this, nope, I'll balance it out with lots of everything. Sometimes that works and sometimes it doesn't. So, again, it depends a little bit on the context, but if there's people watching, I probably would be more actively aware of the FE, but I may not be more accomplished at it.
I also remember something I saw yesterday. It was actually in one of Patrick's videos, where he mentioned about the different types and what they provide another person. And what also he said then was that your third and fourth function, you actually want to help other people with those. It's not what you're good at, but like you help Kimberly with FE.
And SI.
You want to help with that.
I do. I remember back, like last night, her back was sore, and I made a point of saying, "No, we're gonna rub your back."
So that's also something that would happen. Would that be that ENFJ might try to help ENFP with SE and TI, and that wouldn't work well.
Yeah, because that's insecurity and polar. It's like, here, first let me gab you at your insecurity, then let me explain it in ways you can't possibly understand. That's a good point there, Susie. You're wise in the ways of cognitive functions. Okay, Jeremy, you got any thoughts? Are we about done, do you think? Should we stop this video now? I think so. Thanks for watching, audience friends, and don't forget to eat plenty of cheese.